In this video, I want to show you how we can transform the default column graph in Excel or PowerPoint to a professional looking column graph in just 7 steps. We start with the default column graph that you can create in Excel or PowerPoint. Step 1, we increase the ratio of the columns to the background. By default, a column graph has a gap width of 219%. The gap width is the distance between the adjacent columns, and it's measured in the percentage of the column, which means the background is more than twice the area of the columns. The columns need more presence. So when we change that gap width to 50%, now the columns become the focus of the chart. Step 2, remove the legend. At the bottom there's a default legend. Almost always you can remove this because it doesn't add anything to the understanding of the graph. The title at the top is going to contain any explanatory text later on. So when we remove that legend, it allows the column graph to be larger on the screen. Step 3, add data labels and remove the grid lines. The grid lines are the horizontal lines that you see running across the column graph. The reason they're there is because the audience is supposed to look at the height of a column and then move their eyes towards the left and try to figure out what the value is on that vertical axis. Far better to add data labels. Data labels give the audience the value right away, and now we don't need the grid lines. Step 4, clean up the axes. By default, there's a vertical axis that has a number of numbers on it, again to try to aid with those grid lines. But now that we don't have the grid lines, we have the data labels, we don't need that measurement axis. If you do need a measurement axis to prove to the audience that you are starting at 0 and not some other value, use a minimalist axis, which only has 0 and the top value. The bottom horizontal axis has a line that's right at the bottom of the columns. They all align there easily and everybody can see that, so we don't need that. So when we remove those, we clean our graph up, we have much cleaner axes, and now the focus really is on the columns and the data. Step 5, add text that explains the message. There are 2 areas we want to add text. First is the title. We want to make the title meaningful so that the message is very clear from that title. And secondly, after we've added the title, we might want to add explanatory text in as part of the graph so that the audience knows where it is they want to be focusing to get that message. Step 6, increase the font sizes so they're easy to read. By default, the fonts are too small to be easily read by the audience. Increase that font size, make them more readable, and it's much easier for the audience to understand the chart. Step 7, use color to focus attention. By default, all of the columns are the same color. It's hard for the audience to pick out which one stands out. But when we use color to focus their attention, we can use a bold color so that they focus on the one data point we want them to really focus on, and we use a muted gray color to give the other data but make it less important visually on the chart. So we've transformed the default column graph to a professional column graph. We started with the default and we ended up with a professional looking column graph in just 7 steps. If you found this video helpful, there are 3 things you can do to help me out. First, click the like button below the video on YouTube. Second, leave a comment with any questions or feedback. And third, subscribe to my channel. Check out my websites and other videos with more tips and advice. Thanks again for watching.